and the other shoes haven't dropped. I mean, what about the commercial real estate crash that's about to happen? What about the credit card crash? There's so much credit card debt.
This is all stuff that's piled on the back of people having been out of work, and this it does trickle down now to, you go to the malls, like we were talking. Op said you go to the mall, not that many people there as there used to be.
It's empty.
Yeah.
Right?
My shows are never empty, but I mean the mall.
Of course, your shows. Who wouldn't want to laugh?
I was joking saying there's no problem out there because I see people spending, but then I went to a mall about a week ago, and I literally counted 12 people. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't prime time mall time, but still, there was 12 people in the whole mall.
What do you think of these people protesting, they call them the Tea Party
That's
people?
part of the revolt, is it not?
And a lot of it, obviously, Fox News covers it a lot more than CNN does. They've complained about that, and that way it's been tacked to this kind of right-wing thing. But what I'm seeing is
it's not all right. It's not all right.
Right, exactly.
Right.
I'm seeing angry people that don't want to have their arm twisted behind their back and another hand in their pocket.
It seems to be perceived as right-wing more than
it's perceived that way.
So.
Because, it's perceived that way because of what he said. Fox News has tried to own it.
Right.
They've tried to make it their own.
That's a mistake they're making for the American people.
Absolutely, because
they would get more people involved if they didn't do that.
That's right. It doesn't need to be a divided thing. All people need to get involved. Look, this is a great country. We have this great open democracy where you can protest and speak your mind and demand that your representatives do what you want them to do, not the people who are paying them the big bucks.
But do you see liberal causes? Do you see liberal causes when they protest the liberal cause, the media being more tolerant to them than they are a more conservative cause or protest? I really don't see the media being as tolerant and the name calling.
I think the mainstream media generally doesn't like any protest, and they try to berate it and make it look strange or weird or funny or whatever. Because remember, the mainstream media, I mean, this is owned by large corporations too. They have a vested interest in the status quo. Sure. They don't want people out there rocking the boat, because God knows what could happen if the boat rocked a little bit too much. So, generally, I think both sides get it. But I think what the liberals and the left should stop doing is criticizing those Republicans and conservatives who are exercising their freedom of speech. Yeah. And
they're making it racial and anti-Obama. It's like, I think the media, I think you don't think you should let them off the hook. I really think that they are attacking these guys, calling them rednecks, and they're a bunch of racists who don't like the president, when they're really just protesting taxes.
Yeah, some of them are. I mean, you can't get around that.
I agree with that.
I mean, because I'll tell you, here's it wasn't so much the teabaggers that got me, but that day that President Obama was going to speak to all the school children via satellite. And he wasn't doing this as a political speech. He was doing this as the president of the United States. And people kept their kids home from school. This is the wrong thing to teach kids. You have to respect the office of the presidency, even if you disagree with the president. And, as much as I disagreed with George W. Bush, as much as I fought him on his policies, I never uttered the words, I hate George W. Bush, because I don't hate George W. Bush. He's a human being. He's a dad. He's a husband. He should not be demonized. And this is why our discourse is so fucked up now, because we feel like we have to turn the other person into the devil simply because we don't agree with them on gun control. I mean, for crying out loud, can't we just have the disagreement and let's have the great debate? Congress will vote based on what we tell them to do, and that'll be that.
Boy, that would be nice.
Wouldn't that be nice?
That would be amazing.
Wow.
Obama had a nice way of putting it. He said, don't turn the other side into a caricature of what you want of the arguments.
But that's been going on for so many years now.
We got to wrap up unless we could do easily another half hour.
I know, believe me, I'd love to have Michael Moore here for
longer. Michael. Well, you got to stop by where we could spend some real time with you.
No, I will come back. I will. Right. I'm in Michigan now most of the time, but I'm here a lot in New York. I'd love to come back and talk to you guys.
Well, you love that Michigan.
Yeah, well, have you ever been there?
Hell no. We're not crazy. We're not crazy. I know we went to Detroit
once
for one of our comedy shows. We were right near the stadium there.
Right.
In the middle of nowhere. We didn't really see Detroit.
We parachuted in. We're taken out in Humvees. It was amazing.
It was pretty impressive.
They brought you in from Canada. The back door.
I know you got to go, but I do want to say one thing. I'm glad you took on that whole student loan thing, something we talk about on the show, where these kids are going to school and they're in debt.
It's like, welcome to debt. Here's your life. Welcome to debt.
They start their working lives in debt, 80 to 100,000. We've been making this point lately on our show. It's just ridiculous.
Well, how about now? These first few weeks of college right now. Ask any college student. The first day, they got all these tables lined up from the credit card companies trying to sign 18-year-olds up for credit cards. They don't have a job, right? But they don't care. They give them $1,000, $5,000, $10,000 credit limit. and all of a sudden they're in debt before they even have a job.
I know. I was very responsible with my credit card. My first one, I bought a jet ski. 25% interest.
But 22 years old, they leave college with about $6,000 of credit card debt, and like you said, maybe upward to $80 to $100,000 of student loan debt. So they got a fucking noose around their neck right from the get-go. Instead of being able to go get the job they want to get, or maybe, backpack around Europe for a year, or, just fuck off and do whatever. They've got to go work some shit job that they don't like, and they can start hating themselves at age 22 and start the miserable workaday life that listen, we all have to work, but what happens to our dreams or the things we want to do or try to do? You can't do that anymore.
If you have worked that hard through school and gone to college, you do assume you can come out and do more than the guy that kind of dropped out of high school and just comes into it.
No, actually,
the same job.
The guy who graduates from high school and doesn't go to college, he's got a 4-year head start on you now.
Got a 4-year head start and
$80,000 to $100,000
debt. Yeah, no debt.
Because that 80 to 100 turns out to be $500,000 in the end.
That's right. You pay $500,000 in the end for what should be free.
So why would you go to college?
State of New York, the state of California. When I went to college, state of California, state of New York, all college was free.
Yeah.
College was free. And in a place like Michigan, there was a financial aid office. And you got to go essentially for free. You had to work in the cafeteria or the library 10 hours a week, whatever. But that was it. Then they sent you out into the world with no debt.
Right.
So you graduate from high school now. You work for 4 years. When you're 22 at that point, first of all, they won't give you a credit card because you are a high school student or a high school graduate. So you don't have the credit card debt. You don't have the student loan debt. You're already ahead. What's the message there? We're encouraging the idiocracy. We're encouraging people to actually don't go to school, don't learn, don't better yourself. Let's just be stupid.
That's what I do every day here.
And look how it's benefited you too.
See?
God bless America.
What a life.
Michael Moore, the movie, you don't need our help. We're just glad you stopped by and said hi. Capitalism, a love story in New York City and L.A. And then nationwide, October 2nd?
October 2nd everywhere. It's
cool.
It's my my largest opening of any film I've ever had.
That's this Friday. It's everywhere in the country.
No, a week from Friday.
A week from Friday. Okay,
today, New York and L.A.
Okay.
A week from Friday, everywhere.
All right, that's great.
Right on. All right, Michael.
Oh,
Thank you so much for stopping by.
Guys. Thank you very much.
Michael Moore, everyone. We'll take a break.